Hi, it's Steve Hargadon, and welcome to the fourth day of the Global Education Conference. This has been an amazing event. This is the first of 4 back-to-back keynotes today. We're so excited to have Dr. Mary Clisbee here. Mary, did I say your last name right?
Yes, that's right, Steve.
Anyway, this is such an amazing event. We can see the finish line. Tomorrow is our last day. We're so thankful for a terrific set of sponsors and supporters. There's been so much enthusiasm around the conference this year. We're just really delighted with everybody's participation. We've had a huge volunteer turnout, which is just amazing. This is a chance for those of you in the live session to let us know where you're participating from. Look to the left of the map. You're looking for a star icon. Click on it twice, and then click on the map. It's fun to have you shout out in the chat where you're located. I happen to be in Washington, D.C. this week, which is not home for me, but it's been nice to me. Looks like India or Nepal, maybe in a couple of cases. Well, Liza, I love that you're at one conference tuning into another. Oh, it is Nepal. It's Govinda. Okay, well, wherever you are participating from, we're sure glad to have you here. Thank you so much. And Mary, I'm going to turn the time over to you. Thanks so much for being here. And Mary, your mic's not on if you're needing it to be.
I'm on now. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for attending this very exciting event, this wonderful conference, and for coming to this keynote session. So I'm trusting that everyone can hear me just fine. Can you just give me an indication, hands up, smiley face, something to let me know that everyone can hear me okay? Yes, good, good, good. Okay, well, we're here to talk about leveraging international partnerships for improving school education in Haiti. Let me just give you a brief background on my experience and who I am and what I'm doing here actually in Haiti. Oh, and first, let me apologize. Had you come to the original time that this session was scheduled, and I didn't make it in on time, actually. We had a whole host of events here in Haiti that confused things. And, it's just such a perfect example of some of the issues that arise and one faces when dealing with partnerships in developing nations. We had, what is referred to here as a manifestation, which is a demonstration over electricity or lack of electricity, and I had to get from one side of the mountain where I live to the city in the other side, and wasn't able to go on the paved road, because the manifestation had the roads blockaded. They were burning tires, and if you try to go through, they throw rocks and things at your truck. So I had to come over the mountain on this newly constructed road that you really can't even call gravel. It's more like large rocks kind of spread across the road, and it was just a very interesting experience. And the whole kind of combination of these things that had been occurring at once, and I got the time confused. So I apologize to all of you, but it really is truly the perfect example of one of the great challenges when you are working with international partnerships, and one of the partners, like me here, is in a developing nation. I spent the first half of my career in K-12 education in the United States, holding a variety of positions from teacher to school social worker, principal, all the way up through running a school district. of several schools, mostly in suburban, moving into kind of more of an urban area with a little bit of experience also in rural schools, primarily in around New England. Although I did do a brief teaching stint in Houston, Texas for a while. Came to Nova Southeastern University in Miami about 6 years ago, and made that move from K-12 to higher education. Was hired there as a professor, and prior to coming to Haiti, was holding the position of Associate Dean of the School of Education. And started to come to Haiti just after the earthquake, working with a consortium that had formed to assist in the rebuilding of higher education in Haiti, and through the research conferences and other meetings in which I was involved here in Haiti, came to know this school that was just being built, Ecole de Choix, and never kind of imagining that I'd actually move to Haiti full-time and be running a K-12 school again. But that's kind of how I got here, and the university agreed and totally supports my being here. I'm here on special assignment for an undefined length of time. We don't know how long I'll be here. I've been here for a year now. I'm absolutely loving it. It's been just such an adventure. And prior to that, I had been teaching internationally for Nova for the previous 5 years. So I've taught in Korea and Malaysia and Belize, Jamaica on a regular basis, Bahamas. In fact, tomorrow I fly to the Bahamas to teach in the Bahamas. So I teach at the doctoral level for Nova in their EDD and leadership program, and we have a large international component to that program, which is why I do so much international teaching. So it's been really quite a wonderful experience in the past few years to be able to really do a whole lot of traveling and working with folks from a lot of different cultures. So that's the short version. Oh, and research, most of my research focuses on principals, school principals. Again, you know, I had begun some research here in the north of Haiti prior to even realizing that I would end up being a school principal in Haiti. And in the States, most of my research had focused on issues related to gender and leadership. So those are the areas in which I've been conducting research over the past probably 10 years. Okay, well, let's move on. L'Ecole de Choix, the School of Choice, located in Mirebalais, Haiti. I just realized, Steve, this slide has animation and we won't be able to see it. But Port-au-Prince, for those of you that don't know a whole lot about Haiti, Port-au-Prince is the capital. That is what is circled. And if you kind of follow the little dots north, you'll see there's a little town, or not little town, a town called Mirebalais, which is labeled there. And that is where the school is located. So we're in what's called the Central Plateau. We're up in the mountains, but it's a plateau high in the mountains. And, you know, on a good day, the trip into Port-au-Prince may be an hour and a half. On a bad day, it could be 3.5 hours, just depending on the traffic. The first part of the trip from Port-au-Prince to Mirebalais is certainly through Haiti's capital of the city, so it's very congested and densely populated. And when we get about halfway to Mirebalais, we begin to hit wide open spaces and come up across this amazingly beautiful mountain range, and the lake you can see that separates Haiti from the Dominican Republic. And it becomes rural very, very fast once you leave Port-au-Prince. And the whole environment changes in the Central Plateau from being in the city of Port-au-Prince. So the earthquake in 2010, January 2010, was centered in Léogâne, which is just to the west of Port-au-Prince. You actually can see it on this map, and really affected the area from Léogâne through Port-au-Prince in the larger area surrounding Port-au-Prince, but didn't have a direct, it was felt in Mirebalais, but we didn't have a lot of devastation as a result. The impact came from refugees. So many of our students at Ecole de Choix now reside in Mirebalais as a result of being displaced from the earthquake in 2010. The mission of our school is to educate students that come from the most extreme conditions of poverty, children who otherwise could not attend school. Well, let me say this also, if you have a question, we can be interactive here. If you can just kind of raise your hand, I'll gladly give the mic over and you can ask a question, that's fine. So our mission is to educate students that come from the most extreme conditions of poverty. In Haiti, even in public schools, students pay. They have to pay to attend school. And many families just simply do not have the money to be able to pay for their children to go to school. In addition to that, only about 14% of the schools in Haiti are public schools. About 86% are private, and they're much more expensive. In the area where our school is located, there really isn't access to an education system for the students that we serve. So we actually went to organizations, and they were really our first partnerships, but these were not international, these were local partnerships, and asked NGOs that were working with the families that were from our area of Mirebalais, Boyer, and asked them to identify for us those families that were experiencing the most difficulty financially. And that's how we got our students. So our students most of them had never been in school before when they started last year. So the school opened October of 2011. So we just celebrated our first year anniversary. So we wanted to not only provide for these students a typical kind of Haitian school, but we really wanted to give them a future. We really are very much committed to offering them choices so that if they want to go away to college, if they want to stay in Haiti, if they want to go abroad, Canada, Europe, the United States, that will be a choice, that they have a way to continue their education after they complete with Ecole de Choix. So right now we are K-5. We have 2 kindergarten classes, grades 1, 2, 3, 4, and each year, we're K-4 now, each year we increase a grade, so next year we'll add grade 5. So eventually we'll be K-12. So here are our students. Some pictures of our little kids, their smiling faces. It's been really wonderful to watch, kind of the transformation in the kids. When they first came, just really not knowing how to be a student, how to be in school. They had never been in school. Most of them don't have plumbing in their homes, so they didn't know how to use bathroom facilities, or how to hold a pen, or a pencil, or a crayon, or how to line up, all of those things that just are so, much expected in elementary school students. And they perhaps are 8 or 9 or 10 years old and had never done that. And they were scared, and there was not a lot of smiling going on for the first few months because they just simply did not know what to expect of school. And to see them today, kind of skipping around the schoolyard and playing and having fun is just wonderful. So this is an image of Port-au-Prince just after the earthquake. I'm a photographer, kind of an amateur photographer, and I've shot thousands and thousands of photos that I use in my research because I'm a qualitative researcher and use visual images as data. But I'm reluctant often to share photos like this publicly because these are the only images we see of Haiti. And Haiti is much more than this. Haiti is a beautiful country with all of this unrealized potential. But the images that we see of Haiti are these sorts of images. But for the purpose of this presentation, it was important to just give a sense of the devastation. And this was just throughout the city and the areas surrounding Port-au-Prince. And here are our students today in the schoolyard playing. So in Haitian schools, typically, in the provinces, once you leave Port-au-Prince, often there is no electricity in the schools at all. So not only, does that prevent the use of, technology and projectors, but just basics. There's just no electricity, no lights, no air conditioning. There is limited access. We're very fortunate. We live in an area where we have typically 24/7 electricity, although we also have a backup generator and solar power, so we have 3 ways to get energy, but we usually have state-provided electricity. But most schools in the provinces do not have electricity. They often don't have books at all, and the books that are available are very difficult to get, and there aren't a lot of choices. So schools, many schools in the provinces are just held in tents or outside. Several of the schools within which I've been conducting research are outdoor schools. They have chalkboards and chalk, and those are the only implements. I worked with a school last summer, and they didn't have chairs or desks. The kids each sat on a rock. So, the schools here are amazing. People make something out of absolutely nothing. Most schools don't provide food for our children. We have a morning snack and lunch, and for probably the majority of our kids, the only meals they get are the meals that they get at school, but we work very hard to make sure they have enough calories and are getting what they need nutritionally so that they can learn. Teaching salaries are usually below living wage. The average teacher in the provinces makes, about $100 or $125 US a month. What you often see here also is that the teachers are paid the first half of the school year till about January or February, and then the money runs out. And they stay and they work for free the second half of the year. One of the schools that I work with here, the principal actually works 2 other jobs. One is a translator for the local hospital, Dami La Santé, and the other as a high school teacher a couple days a week to earn money to pay the teachers of his school. So people are very creative, but the teachers really aren't making a living wage and often haven't finished school themselves. It's not unusual at all to see a teacher have just 2 years of education above the students they're teaching. So here's one school in Terre Blanche that I visit. They are in 3 tents in this structure here. And, I use this picture often in presentations because you see the students just are not engaged whatsoever in what's occurring. They're not watching the teacher. They're just much more interested. And they're not looking at me. Only 1 or 2 of them are really looking at me. The others are just kind of, checking out what's going out around and not at all paying attention to the teacher. But you see, they have no books. Really the teacher has this chalkboard and chalk, and that's it. This school, by the way, 250 students at this school. It's been open for 5 years. And here's the upper school with the same, in the same school in Terre Blanche. And they actually have some books, but they don't all have the same books. And they're old and worn and tattered. And this particular school is on one side of a lake and up a mountain. It's about an hour hike up the mountain. And any resource is on the other side of the lake. So for them to get books, their parents have to, hike down the mountain, get in a boat, which typically is just, a big log that's carved out, go across the lake, and then when they get on the other side, find some kind of transportation, on a motorcycle or whatever, to get to a little outdoor market where they might find books. So it's very difficult for these students to get books, and they share. So those are more typical kind of schools in Haiti. So what we really find is that when people don't have resources, they become incredibly creative, and they find ways to make things work. And it's amazing here when you see how creative and resourceful the educators are. This photo, by the way, is our dual-purpose room. It's our assembly room and also our cafeteria. And these days, it's also where we hold the exercise piece of our track practice and our karate lessons. So we really value and want the students to be proud of their Haitian background, history, ancestry, culture, and deliver a different type of education here. We're a trilingual school. We follow the Haitian national curriculum. We are a Haitian school, but in addition, we teach in English. So we have parallel curriculum in math and science that is delivered in English. So the students are really receiving this interesting trilingual mix. All the teachers are Haitian. I'm the only American here. I'm the model, for speaking English. We kind of laugh and say that the children here in Haiti are going to speak English with a Boston accent. We use pedagogical approaches that are different than the typical school here. Rote learning, memorization is what you tend to see in Haiti, and we use more inquiry-based learning strategies, and really are working to develop the skills necessary to build leaders for Haiti, and skills that they'll need to be globally competitive in 2020. So we're looking really to create what we call a positive disruption in education. Our school is a campus, also very atypical here. So each building is either 1 or 2 classrooms. But we really designed it, our architects designed it so that it looked like it belonged, like it was its own little village. The inside of one of our classrooms, again, we use local folks to make the furniture, but again, they're different than the typical Haitian setup, which were those benches that I showed you. This is our kindergarten class. Again, very kind of cooperative and engaged. So we knew that the investment in childhood education would pay off for the community. It's very much a community-based school, and we offer programming in the evening for the adults in the community, not just the parents of our children, but the adults. So they are our partners also. So we're looking really, to empower not only the children but the local community, find ways that they can become more financially stable. It's a holistic approach to education. These pictures are our children and their families in the neighborhood. The larger picture, you see one of the houses that our students live in the foreground, and the background is the school. This was actually at our inauguration. So those tents that are set up were for the people that came to our inauguration last December of 2011. So this is our area. This is our neighborhood. More pictures of our neighborhood, the families that we serve, the adults that are involved in our adult programs. So our belief is that change makes change. By offering something different, we will have different results. And we truly believe that our students will be leaders of tomorrow. We reinforce constantly with the children that their leadership needs to stay in Haiti and not go, not end up in the diaspora. We want our kids to remain and to improve Haiti in the future. Whether they're, leaders in their homes, leaders in their communities, government leaders, that they just realize that their charge here, their responsibility from this great opportunity to have such an education is that they have to be part of the change that's needed. We have just such, wonderful books for the children to use. Water treatment. So we have, as you can see in the back, you can see there's a water jug in the back. We always have water in the classrooms for the kids. It's potable. Very much participatory education, engaged. So our partners, let's get to this now, the heart of the presentation here. Our partners are part of this change. We absolutely could not do what we do without them, and we recognize that on a daily basis. Our playground, the money for our playground and our fence and our library was donated by one of our partners. Here's a list of those that we partner with. Intel, BrainPop, and Waterford Early Learning Systems are amazing partners for us. Intel has sent 3 teams of folks out, of 3 teams of 5 that have come 2 weeks each team in the past year to work with our teachers to set up, oh my goodness, everything. Our computers help us to manage our cables, our servers, do training with the teachers, training with the students. They're just such a wonderful, involved partner for us. BrainPop and Waterford Early Learning Systems provide software for us that really help our students learn and our teachers be able to make decisions based on real data. You know, they're able to track what the students are working on, what they know, what lessons they need to be involved with, and what they've already accomplished. They can really look at the reports from those 2 pieces of software and know where their students stand. DePaul University and Nova Southeastern University, you know, just very supportive of what we're doing here and generous with resources and professor release time. Zynga.org, excuse me, I need to drink a little water here. Zynga has been a major financial backer from the very beginning and continue to support us. Maison Henri Deschamps is the company here in Haiti, the organization that publishes about 85% of the curriculum. And they have recently engaged in a project to digitize their textbooks and animate and make available online the curriculum. Now, you know, knowing the issues here, you know, in Haiti with electricity and lack of resource and technology, there aren't a lot of schools that are yet equipped to be able to receive that kind of digital content. So we actually have been the beta site for them because we have that ability. We have computers in a computer lab and wireless on campus and teachers that know how to use technology. So we just feel unbelievably fortunate to be in a partnership with them, and we're able to expose our children to the Haitian national curriculum online as it's being built and have them be a part of that. You know, we know in a few years we're going to look back and just be so proud that we were involved in that project from its inception. Educavision in Miami, the same. They create teaching modules in Creole and may be the only organization outside of Haiti, outside of Maison Henri Deschamps, that actually is doing so. And for them also, we serve as a beta site and are testing for them. Our teachers are beta testing the online teaching modules. Most recently, a science module in science, actually. So, 2nd grade science in Creole on plants growing, I think, was the actual kind of topic of the module. Parker School in Chicago has just been an amazing partner. They provided, kind of the foundation for the development of the model that we use here in Haiti, this Dewey-based kind of model of student-centered learning and inquiry-based learning. And they most recently hosted our fundraising event last month, this gala fundraising event that we held in their gymnasium in Chicago. And we're working on a teacher exchange program. The holdup with that is getting visas. Actually, it's difficult for my Haitian teachers to get visas to leave, but we're working on it. So there'll be an exchange program for our teachers. So our teachers here in Haiti will be able to see what is happening at Parker School, and Parker School will be able to come to Haiti and see what it's like, you know, to teach in a school here. American Jewish Joint Distribution Council has been just a wonderful contributor. This is actually the organization that contributed the money for our library, our fence, and well and playground. U.S. Navy, that should be a capital N, sorry guys and gals that are in the Navy. U.S. Navy Project Hand Clasp. They allow us to ship things on their boats that are coming into OCAP in the north of Haiti, if they have room when they're coming. So we've had 2 sets of large orders that we've brought in that have come through U.S. Navy Project Hand Clasp. And many, many, many other partners that have just come together so wonderfully to support what we do here. So here's just a couple of shots of our children on the computers in our computer lab. Just consider that, you saw the conditions these children live in, and they had never been in school, and they are so quick to learn in the computers. We have kids that can get on the internet and browse around and can open and close programs, certainly know the components, the keyboard, how to type, how to use the mouse. And we actually recently had a parent night and showed the parents videos, because we have laptops and projectors in all of the classrooms, showed the parents videos of their kids using the technology, and they were just, so amazed, to be able to just to watch a video of their own child, but to see them navigating around on these computers. These are classroom PCs that we use. Again, all set up, organized by Intel, and with BrainPop and Waterford Early Learning Systems software. Actually held on a server that we have in the computer lab. Another shot of the kids on the computers. So let's talk a little bit about the challenges that we've had. The language difference sometimes is a challenge. All of our teachers are trilingual, so they all speak English. And often we will find partners that speak French. So they're able to communicate either in English or French, but just not always. And despite the fact that our teachers are proficient in English, sometimes the language difference is a challenge, particularly when I come in to work with the children, because the children are just emerging English users, speakers. So sometimes the language differences, can be a challenge. Certainly time zone differences, here we are at this conference and we've found ways to deal with that, but, that just comes up periodically as, people get on at the wrong time and miscalculate, when meetings or conference calls are going to start. Cultural understanding is a big one. It's a very different culture here, than the U.S. or than Europe. And some of our Intel partners come from Europe. And it's hard sometimes to judge what's going on because it's an issue that's related to cultural differences. And it can't be an issue that is judged, but just understood that that's what it is. I mean, we're here really as guests, and making judgment about issues or behavior is just not really helpful. It's more, kind of understanding why these challenges come up, and brainstorming and strategizing how to kind of just get around them. But the differences in culture sometimes, can be a challenge. Other times, it's just delightful. It's just such a wonderfully rich mix of folks working together. And you just can't find that any other way. Frustration over the lack of resources. For our partners who haven't actually been here, it's very difficult for them to understand the challenges that we face here on a day-to-day basis. An example would be someone needing something for me to be scanned in and sent. Well, the scanner broke, and there was no one to fix the scanner. We can't just pick up the phone and call somebody to come and get the scanner and fix it. Or the copy machine, which routinely breaks for some strange reason. And then to bring it into Port-au-Prince, that's a whole day to drive in. And even when you do that, you don't always have a solution. There isn't always a tech, or the tech they used to have no longer works there, and right now there is no tech, so there's no one to fix the copy machine. So that lack of depth of resource can be extremely frustrating. Internet is up, internet is down, it's unreliable. Access to simple things, staples or tape or whatever that might be, it's not a simple fix. We tried for 10 months to get our interactive whiteboards installed, and it really had to do with lack of available building materials that were appropriate to hang the whiteboard, and into these cement walls that we have. So that's a frustration, I think, that the partners feel sometimes. From their vantage point, what they're asking us to do or telling us, this is what you need to do, seems very simple, but it's not so simple for us. We left one day and couldn't leave the school because there was a demonstration going on, and tires were burning, and you just, it's a very different reality here, and partners need to understand that and work with us within those constraints. And also when they come in, just to really understand the kinds of challenges that we have here on a day-to-day basis. And that really just segues into technology issues and communication issues. The internet usually works, but if it goes down, it can be days to come back up, and we may not even know why it's down, despite the fact that we call, folks that are responsible for our internet to ask. Sometimes the telephone service is down also. So technology issues, communication issues, sometimes it's something as simple as needing to buy minutes for your phone and not being able to find phone cards. It's not simple. Things that you wouldn't necessarily anticipate as a partner, really aren't easy for us here. Overall challenges, that we face. And again, I think we've learned so much in the past year and learned a whole lot about how to prep our volunteers that come in and our partners in the States about us and the kinds of things that we face here. Certainly, one of our largest challenges is maintaining funding interest. Folks that want to contribute and support the school. We spend a tremendous amount of time trying to find new partners and folks that will support us. We find people will support things. They want to buy art supplies, they want to buy textbooks, they want to buy, contribute the playground, but they're not as interested in supporting operational expenses. So we struggle all the time to raise the money to cover operational expenses. We have no funding, no grant funding, no foundation money. Housing and the living conditions for the teachers is certainly a big challenge. We live in, as you saw, a very kind of rough, agricultural, poor area of Haiti. And finding appropriate housing is a challenge. And if what housing is available is expensive, believe it or not. It is not cheap to live here if you have want something close to, like, let's just say, an American standard of living. Very, very, very expensive and very limited of what's available in the provinces. Teacher candidates, an appropriate pool of teacher candidates, finding teachers that have credentials. We require that they have a teacher certification and either a bachelor's or a master's degree in education. And we pay 8 times what the typical teacher makes in the province. So they're very well compensated. Despite the fact that they're so well compensated, it is still very difficult to find teachers. Lack of local educational materials. I drive into Port-au-Prince regularly to purchase books for the Haitian curriculum part of our educational program. In terms of our additional parallel curriculum in English, we bring that all in from the States. Well, how do you get it here? Sometimes on boats. We have one boat that we work with, leaving out of Miami and coming into OCAP, which is, a 4-hour drive or 3.5-hour drive for us over mostly unpaved roads. I have a home in Miami, so we can, we ship. My garage has become, our staging area, so we ship to my house in Miami, then we carry stuff in on the plane, or we stick it on the boat. But it's very difficult to get things here. People do not ship typically to Haiti. We've learned that we really have to remain apolitical. We've really turned things upside down here in terms of the educational model. We are providing to our students, the poorest students in the community and in the country, the best quality education that's really available here in Haiti. That's unheard of. Even families that can afford the high tuitions of the American schools in Port-au-Prince aren't getting a better education than our kids are getting out in the provinces. So there's a lot of pressure on us to take children in the school that really the schools is not intended for. So, the middle class folks in Mirebalais are always knocking at my door, wanting to know if they can enroll their child in our school. And I have to always say no. Our school's for the children whose families couldn't afford for them to go to school elsewhere. So I've really worked very hard to stay apolitical in the community. We're always challenged with local rumors and this distrust of foreign entities. There's been such a negative relationship between NGOs in Haiti and the folks that live here. And so there's a lot of skepticism about what we're doing. And there's been a lot of misinformation and rumors kind of spreading through the community about our intention. That'll just take time. And we work very hard to build relationships with our local community, the community that our school serves. Finding trustworthy staff, has been a challenge. Just really finding folks that are really on board with us in terms of our mission and remaining true to that. Driving is a big issue here. I do drive in Haiti, but, figuring out how to do that, no street signs or very few street signs or maps, and how to do it safely. How do we get around? How do we get that broken copy machine into the city, knowing it's going to take a whole day to get in and out, And I have the only credit card. So here I am, the principal, being tied up all this time whenever I have to get books or supplies or things fixed in the city. So, we did finally hire a full-time driver because, of the risk associated with driving. Safety and security is big here for our partners as well when they come in. Understanding that there is risk, there's real risk here. And, if you kind of behave within certain parameters and do things certain ways and stay out of parts of the country or parts of the city, you can keep yourself safe. But you have to be very careful not to get too comfortable and not to begin to think, it's not so bad here, and I can kind of let my guard down. That's when you're really at risk. So you have to, just always consider that there are safety and security issues here. Government, political issues, instability. I'll also say, it isn't like Haiti has the monopoly on these things, certainly. There are areas in Miami that I don't go to as well. but we're visitors here, and we just need to be always aware of the potential governmental instability and disruption and turnover. And certainly for our children, a major issue is malnutrition. And that's been a challenge for us. And kind of lack of access to health care. Families that don't have money even, to put their kid on a motorcycle and get them to the local hospital, even though the hospital's free. They just don't have the money to get the child to the hospital. Lessons we've learned with our partners, or just in general, forming and leveraging partnerships, using those partnerships, asking them for help, getting to conferences like this and just talking about what we do and how different and unusual it is, and finding partners. We absolutely just cannot accomplish this amazing mission that we have without the partnerships and collaboration that really allow us, to have these rich, robust offerings. Really, really, truly, honestly, deeply respecting the culture. Without that, we will not be successful here. We have to know that Haitian schools struggle not because they want to struggle or not because there's a better or easier way to do it. They struggle because of the lack of resource. So, we bring in resource, basically. We have access to that, and we have access to things that the typical school here does not have access to. Someone has their hand up. Go ahead. Rhonda?
So, Mary, I have to give her audio permissions. I'm going to do that right now. And Rhonda, you now have audio, and you can turn your mic on by clicking on the talk button. And sometimes people, there you go.
Thank you, Mary, for providing such meaningful information. I live in Florida, and Haiti has been a consistent source of discussion for many of the groups that I participate with. I don't even know where to begin, and for anyone or any group to be involved as much as you are, obviously, I can only give you my heartfelt gratitude, because I'm sure it takes determination and will beyond measure in some people's eyes to do that every day, and to have to overcome the difficulties of not only the environment and what the earthquakes and or weather will do, but also just, as you said, trying to keep resources available for people as they become more dependent or more independent, either way. Living in Florida, though, I have a question. Living in Florida has offered me a couple of opportunities to talk to some key executives about Haiti and ways of building or rebuilding. It was a few years ago, actually, before we all had incurred such devastating natural disasters. But not sure who that is. But my question, I guess, is, well, in our discussions, I was contacted through Hotmail from a student in Turkey that was from Haiti, and he was wanting to connect or establish connections with people, I'm thinking for learning purposes, and I really didn't know how to help him other than to go to my local Haitian population and their representative and talk to them about how to best support or connect, link, kind of like we're saying, resources, so that those who are maybe providing or getting support from other places can share in those connections. Does that often happen?
It does. We have received several large donations from folks like Lutheran World Relief, another one of our great partners. They shipped 9,000 school kits and another, few thousand hygiene kits, and we distributed them locally. difficult, I have to say, and I'm not sure that I want to take on a project that is in that scope in the future. But we're very connected with other Haitian schools in the community and do share with them on a regular basis. So yeah, I mean, if you have resources or people with questions, just point them to me. That's absolutely fine. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did, and thank you for being available for questions, because there are so many. And again, working with this community, I can tell you there's a commissioner in my local city who spent probably 3/4 of her time trying to get a cricket court for the Haitian community in her area. And I can only tell you she had to move more mountains than I would have ever anticipated to just have a cricket court. But it meant so much to that community that is so deprived sometimes of recreational activities that can keep them occupied as well, because they go to school and they struggle, and then they are typically in homes that have more than 5 or 6 or 7 people living in them, and they're not necessarily, even here in America when they're living in these homes, not necessarily the best kept. And then not to have a recreation or a way to be able to expound some of that energy I was concerned, or we were concerned about. And so she did a miraculous job in being able to get them a cricket court and finally persuade people to understand, like you said, culturally understand that it means just as much for them to participate and to be involved or counted. I will say the only difficulty that I've really personally experienced, and this kind of inhibits or creates a reluctance in my own connection, is that I was at church one day, literally, and a Haitian gentleman came in with his Bible and proceeded to want to have a discussion with me, of which I'm always open. And we sat down, and he was very adamant about his being here in the United States. He showed me his green card. I mean, he was passionate about showing me his green card or his citizenship card, forgive me, and told me he graduated from law, and he was supposed to be here in the United States to get a job. And I can only tell you, being in Florida or being anywhere, the subject of jobs is a big issue. And proceeded to tell me that, he was here to get help, that he was meant to be helpful or meant to be helped here. And it kind of got to the point where we had to separate the relationship, because it was almost intimidating to those around them. So trying to understand the culture and also trying to balance the frustrations and pressures of everybody involved, I think, is sometimes a hard thing for me to do without having as much resources in the information of what's actually going on as you do. So thank you for being open for questions. I can say just personally, like I said, that's been my only downfall, I guess, in trying to help with that community.
Well, thank you for all the kind comments. We have 2 slides left, and we don't have a lot of time for questions, so I'm just going to quickly go through, but this particular slide I think is important. In terms of lessons learned, we can't underestimate the danger and the risk here, and we need to prepare for it. Natural disaster and political issues. We have to come into this country and realize we really have to check our egos, and see things through a different lens and realize that we have no idea what we're seeing. We have no idea why things are the way they are, and approach it in that manner and not make judgment. Being adaptable, flexible, and being sure that you're self-reliant, just in case there is some kind of disaster that you have to deal with. You need community buy-in. You have to make relationships with your local community to be successful. And patience. When you don't have access to resource, I have learned more about patience in the last year, and I needed to learn about patience. I'm not particularly the most patient person. And, just to realize that I'm here, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So I have to just, really pace myself. understanding that there really aren't government services. You aren't going to pick up the phone and call 911. There isn't going to be an ambulance if you get sick. Those services just don't exist. We really need to pay attention to focusing on the mission, which is teaching. And so much of our time goes into fundraising, but we have to remember that none of the fundraising matters if we're not meeting our mission. And, sometimes you just can't will it to happen. You have to be patient and just let things take their course. So here's information about me if you're interested, about the school if you're interested, if you want to be in touch with us. And let me just stop talking right this minute and ask for questions. And I'm sorry, there's only 4 minutes left.
Hi, Mary. It's Lucy again. Let me help you with the Q&A if there's anybody that has any questions. If anybody has any questions, why don't you type them in the chat or raise your hand and I'll give you the mic, but we do have 4 minutes left. Mary, I also want to extend an invitation to you to use our network however you deem necessary to help with your efforts, whether we can send a blast to our now 15,000 members for help in some way, or if you have teachers who want to connect with our teachers for professional development or something like that. I can help you with that, and Steve as well. So we'd love to support you and just tell us what you need, and we'll rally. But we've got some great active educators here who would love to learn from you guys as well. Any questions, anyone? Raise your hand or type in the chat and I'll call on you. So, Heda, did you have a question? It looks like she might be typing it. Thanks for such profound insight into your efforts. Need permission to talk, or should I just type? Oh, that might help if I gave you the mic. Sorry. Here you go. Try asking your question.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me? Yes, Rhonda. Lucy, can you hear me? All right. I just wanted to share an idea. Listening to Mary and her efforts, I was just thinking of having a platform for teachers on the basis of Doctors Sans Frontiers. So we could have Teachers Sans Frontiers. If we could work on that. And I was just thinking there's so many teachers in the private and elite schools, those that retire. And they do not retire just because they cannot work anymore, but just because they have already done with their time of 25 years in service or something others. So could we not connect them and leverage partnership with such elite schools? Get them on this Teachers Sans Frontiers idea. I don't know. I would be the first one to volunteer as it is. I will be about to retire in 10 years' time, but I could retire earlier. So, I really would feel that we should get these teachers who are already so trained, and after that they have so much of time. And, well, that's what I just wanted to offer myself, maybe right away next year or in 2 years' time, to sustain this idea of getting these retirees to, be on a roster kind of a duty of volunteering their services, their experience in training the teachers in Haiti. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sahida. Appreciate that. I think you're onto something. There is a member of our leadership team here at the Global Education Conference named Noble Kelly, Noblekelly, who leads Educators Without Borders, or Education Without Borders. I'm trying to think the name of the organization. But you can search for him in the member directory. And he leads contingencies of teachers to Africa to work with teachers there on a number of different fronts. And he might be actually the person too to try and do something in Haiti as well. So I highly recommend connecting with Noble. He's a really great guy. There's also, he's Canadian, and there might be a U.S. chapter of it as well. There's also Teachers Without Borders that has chapters in different areas of the world as well. I'd like to take a quick moment to thank Mary for making time to see us, and we rescheduled her this week, and I appreciate her flexibility. And it's been a joy knowing about your school, and hopefully we'll keep in touch and find ways that we can help you in your mission. So thank you, Mary, for everything, and thanks to everybody for coming. The next keynote, sorry, I'm losing my voice here, is William Kist, who's written a book on global education, and he's in another room. I'll find the link for you guys. But thank you, Mary, for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. Bye for now. Can you hear now? Bye for now. Thank you. Oh, I see. Can I leave my email address? Can I leave my email address?
Fahita, I think the best thing for you, if you want to follow up with Mary, is to email her. She left her email address with us on that last slide, so the best thing to do would be to follow up with her directly. Probably send her your email address if you want to do something.
Oh,
okay?
All right.
Time for us to move on to the next keynote. I need to process this recording. I'm going to stop recording right now, actually. And